My friends, the Russian Freedom Legion is back and they have once again entered Russian territory in the Belgorod region, or Bilhorod as you would say as a Ukrainian. Let's start calling things by the righteous names. Bilhorod, Königsberg. Before we start, I want to just sprinkle some positivity to the start of your day, because I know most of you will watch it when you're going to work or coming from work. You're doing amazing, and I wish you a great weekend. Let's go. The Russian Volunteer Corps has ended Bilhorod region, and more specifically in the village of Derebreno, which you can see right here, the village here on Russian territory, a few clicks into Russia. Now their goal is not to stay there and occupy any Russian territory long term. Their goal is to destroy Russian border guard detachments, destroy their equipment and destroy FSB operators and assets in the area. And they have done that successfully. They actually announced that they're already returning from Russia, meaning they already concluded this operation in secrecy. The OPSEC is great. On these photos we can actually see them returning from Russia by foot during the night. They have night visions, they're very well equipped. All of the equipment of course comes from the armed forces of Ukraine. Here's another photo of them walking back in a straight line. Now anybody hearing this might hear that, okay, if they're not there to occupy, what is their goal? Well, if you go short term into enemy territory, destroy their border guard detachment and equipment and pull out, it is an incredibly effective attack because Russia has to react to it with great forces. If they don't, they will seem weak and it will send a signal that in this area the border is protectless, you can go in again. So Russia needs to react, and any kind of forces they send there, they will have to take away from other areas of the front. So any kind of reaction from Russia is good for armed forces of Ukraine from anywhere else. I don't know if I make any sense, I'm sorry. This is Russian Freedom Legion report from their Telegram. We would like to inform you that our groups are now working in Bilhorod region. There are no wounded or dead among the legionaries. We are working according to plan. Leave the tales about minefields to Konashenkov. We continue to cleanse our house of Putin's filth. There is a battle going on. All the details will follow. I love the OPSEC. We're there, but all the details will follow later when the battle is successfully concluded. My friends, for 5 days I have made videos not from Estonia but from another country, and I have asked in every video to guess the country and none of you have, but now 5 days later the first one, Instagram user Just the Dab, wrote to me, from Mykonos to Santorini in Turkey, say hi to Erdogan. Yes, I am in Turkey, I'm working from here, so it's like a work trip for me. And thank you for guessing right, most of you said Bali or Greece. But as most of you know, there are a lot of Russians in Turkey. Like, Russians are the biggest tourist group in Turkey. And this is my friend Sim that I went to Ukraine with actually. He is also in Turkey with me. And this is a Russian woman. And Sim, you know, being a very pro-Ukrainian Estonian, was very curious how do the Russians think about Russia-Ukrainian war. He asked this woman, and what did this Russian woman do in the plane? She immediately whipped out a whiskey bottle and started zipping straight from the bottle the entire plane ride of 4 hours. And she got hammered at the end of it. And now I will blow your mind how she thought, what she thought about Zelensky, NATO and the United States. This is really how the Russian people think. Get ready and get your popcorn. This is coming from first-hand sources. First of all, why Russia is attacking Zelensky and Ukraine is because Zelensky is a bad politician. Yes, if you are a bad politician, you deserve your country to be attacked by 250,000 of Russian mobiks. This is what she believes. So in United States or Germany, if you have any bad politicians, you know what's waiting for you from Russia. Second opinion, why Russia attacked Ukraine is because Zelensky wants money from the United States. Russia doesn't like that. We don't like Zelensky wanting money from the United States. It is so incredibly stupid that it's bizarrely funny almost. That's what they believe. Oh, the Ukrainians know they don't care about their people. They only want money from the United States. Slava Ukraini, all that is fake. We just want the dollar. That's what they think. And these were very regular Russian tourists going to Turkey, visiting their families. They have children, they have husbands, brothers, wives. They're not something special, just a regular person. This is a clear example of a Russian smooth brain. Also, credit to Sim for being so brave to ask these questions and learn to know your adversary. Seems Instagram is in the description below, also is mine, you can see the trip in Turkey. My friends, in Zaporozhye, Russian sources and the Ukrainian sources both are claiming that there is some new kind of huge Ukrainian push. Well, I'm here to tell you that no, just the regular battles are going on. Ukraine is pushing into Prokopivka and Verbove, but there's nothing really huge that the media is reported, that hundreds of tanks are charging over some line. No, that doesn't happen. Just regular Ukrainian operations with OPSEC, we don't know much. But in this video, we actually see in Zaporozhye area, Russian troops by the dozens surrendering. Real footage from the thermal night visions. And for the YouTube gods, I have to say, nobody's getting hurt in this video. These POWs cannot be identified, their faces are not shown, and I know for the fact that I followed this news through that they have been treated according to Geneva Conventions. They are fed, they will be given work, and they will be treated as POWs are treated in Ukraine. If they need medical attention, they will get it. With that being said, let's watch it. Actually, Russian soldiers surrendering. This sniper is watching these Russian soldiers surrender in the Zaporozhye region through a thermal night vision sight, which is incredibly expensive. These sights can go up to 20k a piece and they're really good. As you can see, these soldiers are asked to throw away their weapons and lie on the ground. Then Ukrainian soldier approaches them, puts tape on their eye, puts tape on their arms and guides them to the truck which will take them to the POW camp where they will be fed 3 times a day and they can actually work for minimum wages. What a great life the Russian POWs have actually in Ukraine. They can work for money, for pay. And my friends, Brandon Mitchell was actually fundraising for these very same night vision, thermal vision scope sights. They have so many different names, you can use them for so many different purposes. They have zoom in, zoom out, they have night vision, thermal vision and sight at the same thing. And they are so effective, and Brandon knows this. This is why he was fundraising them for the territorial forces of Ukraine. And we met in Kyiv, he told me the story. This is the correct thing to do. And I know their value because I have brought 30 night visions to Ukraine. It was an insane paperwork drama. I'm never doing that again, but I'm glad I got to do it. All of these stories and many others that you have not heard about are in my Instagram, link in the description below. Alright my friends, the front line map. We go to southern Kherson front and the settlement city of Oleshki actually. And if you look at the eastern river that goes out of this settlement, or actually flows into it, it's the Koinka River. Clicking on these red dots, you can see the Russian boat on Koinka River attacked by first-person view drone, and this continues throughout the entire length of the river. And actually, a few days ago, this area with the river and the lake surrounding it was filled with Russian positions, and now we have reports that they have been pushed out by the armed forces of Ukraine. This bridgehead the Ukrainians have over the Dnieper is expanding. Soon they will connect all of the beach area of the entire Dnipro River, meaning that the possibility to build this into something greater will increase. And Russians will have to deploy more reinforcements into the area. This next bit of news, I don't like it, you don't like it, but I have to report on it. The Russians now have their own ability to produce Shahed drones in their country. Yes, Shahed factories are now operational in Russia and they're able to mass produce them on a grand scale, meaning that when winter comes in Ukraine, they will once again start attacking Ukrainian civil electric and water infrastructure to keep the Ukrainians in the cold and without water in the dark winter months. Shahed drones, unfortunately, are very cheap to produce and easy to produce for Russians. Also, they are very easy to shoot down with, like, for example, German Gepard. But there's an issue with the ammunition because it is made in Switzerland and they are, you know how they are. And shooting down a Shahed drone with an anti-air missile is not very cost effective, but Ukrainians still are doing it, which leads to the conclusions that Russians can use Shahed drones in mass to deplete Ukrainian anti-aircraft missile storages, using these cheap drones to use up Ukrainian very expensive anti-air missiles sent from the West. I hate it, but that's the reality now. Talking about shooting down Shahed drones, I feel like I want to share this because this is 3 Maxim machine guns mounted into one anti-Shahed Wunderwaffe, whatever you want to call it. Like, this weapon is almost 100 years old. It was used in World War I heavily also a little bit in World War II, and now it is still being used in Ukraine in some minor instances. And of course it might look funny, I would love to make fun, these are the armed forces of Ukraine, but I can't because this weapon can't shoot down the drones. If you have the ammunition for it, it's a very reliable weapon that has a decent fire rate. If it does the job, I'm not gonna say anything. My friends, this is the president of the South Sudan meeting Putin. Look at this cowboy guy. He has a cane, he has a top hat. I mean, he looks like a pimp almost. Now, South Sudan has Wagner forces in their country. Putin is very much interested in that natural resources that they have. And the Wagnerites are known to have the deal that if they liberate any kind of mines or oil fields for the dictator, they will keep 25% of the profits for Putin or for Prigozhin, who is no more. In this case, it's Putin. So he wants to meet the cowboy. But there's an issue with the earpiece. Let's see. See, Putin is teaching him how to put in the earpiece. He doesn't know how to do it. You need it to communicate because he doesn't speak Russian. So in this clip, we're seeing Putin teaching an African pimp how to use an earpiece. Look at his face. Yeah, you're good? We good to go? Let's for a moment jump back to the southern front, Zaporozhye front, where Russian and Ukrainian sources are actually reporting a huge Ukrainian assault, which I'm here to tell is not true. Yes, Ukrainians are assaulting with their 82nd Brigade to Verbove, but it's not huge like the media is reporting. It's with proper OPSEC, proper assault operation with one brigade. But they are having success because now Russian officers from the 7th VDV, so the Desantniks unit, are reporting that they are pulling back. They're falling back from Verbove. So in the next week or two, we might see armed forces of Ukraine liberate Verbove. Also, what the soldiers of the 7th and 76th Russian VDV are reporting is that their command is using them as cannon fodder to buy time for Tokmak. Tokmak is a little bit more south. And these designing forces are, semi-special forces, one of the best trained units Russia has. And they're being sent there so Tokmak can establish better defenses. They know they will lose Verbove. They don't like this because they always were told that they are the elite forces used for elite missions. And now they're being used as a meat shield. And my friends, now I bring you a Russian man explaining how Russia really operates, and I watched the video and honestly I think this is one of the best explanations of what Russia fundamentally is. It's really good and it makes a lot of sense if you look back at Russian history of the last 700 years, because before that there was no Russia as we view it today. There was Kievan Rus and it was Ukrainian. But after that, the Russian Empire has always worked like that. Let's see what he has to say. What prevents us from living a better life without war? We don't know how to do that. The entire history of Russia consists of 3 stages. The first is the preparation for war, the second is the war itself, and the third is recovery after the war. After the reconstruction, what do? We prepare for war. Check the whole history of Russia consists of these 3 stages. The only question is the length of the stage. My friends, I just lost internet. I cannot watch it anymore. I'm so sorry for this, but I think this is one of the most accurate descriptions of the Russian Empire thought process at all I've ever seen. What this man went on to explain is that Ukrainian wages caught up to Russian wages in the middle of 2010s. And in about 2020, they passed the Russian mediocre wage. Ukrainian mediocre wage was higher than the Russian one, meaning Ukraine as a country was more wealthier and was advancing. Russia can never do that because there's huge corruption. They don't know how to live like that. So for the leadership, to give the people a reason to live badly. Because if other countries are living good and there is no war, Russia should be living good, but they're not. So there should be a reason for it. So there always has to be a war. And if there's no war, there always has to be preparation for war or building up after the war. Always a process why we cannot live good, why we have to serve the Tsar. I think it makes a lot of sense, for me at least, as much as I've talked to the Russians. It's like in their DNA to think that they always have to fight a foreign enemy and suffer for it. It's so bizarre. This, my friends, what you see here is aerial photos of Bakhmut. As you can see, there's not really much left of it. Why I want to show you these is we talk about these settlements. Nova Prakopivka, Verbove, Aleshki. Aleshki is not like that. But Nova Prakopivka and Verbove are exactly the same. Verbove is a settlement that Ukraine is going to liberate in the next 2 weeks. That's my prediction. And if any of you might think that, okay, it's now Ukraine and some families might perhaps return to the settlement, in Kyiv there was a taxi driver who drove us. He was from Bakhmut, from this city you're seeing on the photos right here. I asked him straight, are you going back there when the war ends? He started laughing and he started explaining to me, where do I go back? To what? To the pile of rocks? There's nothing there, and you can see it with your own eyes. Even if you own any kind of real estate here, you own a flat in this apartment, nobody's gonna build it up. You cannot go back, your home is gone. There's not even enough foundations here to cover from artillery missions. There is a harsh reality that these cities might not be built up again. There might be new cities next to them, but these people don't want to go back there because it connects with this memory. It's not that, okay, we will liberate the area, we will rebuild it in a grandiose way. People don't want to live there because there's so much dark history here. My friends, thank you so much for watching. I'm having internet troubles here. It's very hard to shoot these videos, but I'm still going to do it. I brought my entire kit in a suitcase. It was really heavy, but I need to make these updates for you. I hope you understand. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. I wish you have a great Friday and great rest of the weekend, and I'll see you guys on Monday. If you want to know what I'm doing at the meantime, go to my Instagram. Link is in the description below. Also, I'll now be answering all of the Patreon messages since there are so many of them. I'm gonna do it in bulk. Take myself together and write to all of you guys. So if you haven't been to my Patreon for a long time, go and check it out. I'll be writing to you. Until my next video, my friends, stay cool and bye-bye.